Weep, Grana, Weeping, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things Transformers and Transformers action figure related. And today I'm coming back at you with another comic book review. And today we are finally going to be coming to the end of Transformers Secrets and Lies, Transformers 84. And this conclusion comes in Transformers 84. Legends and Rumors, and that is a 100-page giant special. So I have to say, this has been one of my favorite IDW comic runs that they've done in absolutely years. I adore this from start to finish. Absolutely fantastic. I think there was one issue maybe that was a little bit lackluster. Everything else absolute banger. Simon Furman and the team coming back, adding some extra little sprinkles of magic into the Marvel universe and top and tailing it off and giving you some extra pieces of information. Absolutely fantastic. I've covered every single issue on this channel and you can find the link here. But I do definitely say go and pick this up to experience it in its full glory, because it is a fantastic story from start to finish that culminates in what we are going to finish with now, the 100-page giant special, Legends and Rumors. So let's start this bad boy off by looking at the amazing cover art here. We have the 100-page giant special, Transformers 1984, More Than Meets the Eye, IDW, and then we have Megatron and Prime duking it out on the front. Obviously the more Marvel inspired Megatron here with his kind of purples and whites rather than the classic silver that we're used to. Prime just looking awesome and looking like Prime there, with a massive blast coming out of Megatron's cannon, and then Legends and Rumors down the bottom. On the back we get a slight bio about what's been going on and present stories. In this we get Transformers issue 1, so the first ever Marvel comic that was produced is inside this bad boy. We also get the full story of Man of Iron, which was UK Transformers 9 to issue 12. Interesting artwork on that one as well. And then we get Zero, Transformers 84 Zero one-shot, which is basically the prequel to the prequel that is 1984. Pretty damn good. And what we're going to cover in the most detail is Zero, because this is good. This is good. So opening up the cover here, and the first thing that we come to is the list of everybody involved in the different stories that we actually have here. So the first one, who was involved in Transformers 1, then who was involved in Transformers UK 9 to 12, and then of course Transformers 84 Zero. Simon Furman got his hands on 1984, and this is kind of, just for those of you who didn't pick it up at the beginning, 84 is adding little bits of information into the original Transformers mainline from the Marvel comics. So if you are thinking, well, how does this link into IDW? It doesn't link into that. This links into the Marvel comics, and let's just call out this awesome Star Saber artwork, especially the fact that it has my number one guy Straxus right there looking all cool. Mask on, face cover on, IDW, please, please, please bring this look back, not the new look Straxus. So we start off with issue 1 of the Transformers, and basically it's the opening panels from issue 1 of the Transformers, just explaining a little bit about the history of Transformers, how they got there, and what Cybertron is. And we get this pretty cool looking artwork here. Obviously none of these bots you can really recognize. I'm not sure if this is Mr. Pax himself before he gets all primed up. certainly could be a take on Orion Pax. I don't know, maybe someone will shout me out down in the comments and let me know. And then moving on to the next page, explains that, you know, the Decepticons kind of rose up, and we see the Seekers, I guess, for the first time, but they're not Tetra Jets. They are just they're just Seekers. So as we go through this, other than kind of Megs, Soundwave, and Ravage, we don't really get too much bots that we recognize in these panels, certainly from my side, but you can see how the people are coming from all over Cybertron and Decepticons, and they are changing them into Transformers. So this was a technology that the cons developed to help them wage war against the Autobots, and they were kind of wanted to be the flying vehicles and the war vehicles, where the Autobots became the Transformers, and then the war rages on, and we see Prime. I think this is Prime's alt mode. It's sketchy, right? It's real sketchy on this one, but it's interesting. I like it when they're a little bit different, but it certainly looks a little bit like Perceptor to me, which is quite bizarre. Could be a look of Perceptor. We get to see a little bit of Alpha Trion type things kicking off here as well. Heavily more inspired by the toys. As you can see, this is definitely a more toy inspired figure. So this explains basically the start of the Transformers. We see the arc, we see the battle between the bots and the cons on the arc as well, and them going through the asteroid field just like in the cartoon, but it's done slightly differently because they're all kind of out and stuff like that. So that's the first issue. Obviously really nice piece of nostalgia there to look back on. You see some things used that you don't really see. Obviously this was heavily inspired by the figures at the time, so you get to see the inside of Prime's trailer being used. You get to see the first time that the Decepticons assemble there, which is cool, the first time they transform. And then we also get to see the first time that the Autobots assemble. This panel was also used in the first ever Transformers annual. I think the Transformers annual that I looked at on this channel at Christmas. I'll link that in the description here if you want to see what that was like. So that gets reused there, but it's good. And again, really heavily inspired by the toys, because we can see the real dodgy versions of Ironhide and Ratchet with their little heads hiding behind this just the dodgy bot modes that we got with those in the 80s. Cover art for issue 1. This is the classic cover art for issue 1 of the Transformers. Now, down in history, 75 cents at the time. UK was 50p. Canada, $1. A copy of this did actually sell for obscene amounts of money. I covered it in my news stories. So yeah, a little bit more than that these days. The story then moves on to Man of Iron, and this story puts kind of Jazz. This is Jazz. I promise you. So this story puts Jazz and Mirage at the heart of it, and I think it shows just how they've been on the planet for years, and also shows that Starscream is also in this, and we can see Trailbreaker as well in this story. Really quite a nice action-packed story, kind of feeds into the other story. Definitely I would recommend that you go check this one out. The artwork on this is not my favorite. I know some people are really like this style of art for Transformers. This was never my favorite style of art for the Transformers on this one. Never really liked it too much. Don't know why. I really don't know, but there's just something about it that it's not my cup of tea, but I do know that other people really like it. Very interesting story, well worth checking. Then we move on to the main event itself, and that is the last piece, or the prequel to Secrets and Lies. So this is Legends and Rumors, and again, as always, this story is told through the eyes of Counterpunch, because Counterpunch is the only person who can really tell this story well, because he can tell the story from both sides. So everyone knows about Cybertron, the metal planet blown clear out of its orbit and sent clearing through space. So Cybertron is careering through space, as we know. In the Marvel Comics universe, it's heading kind of towards the Earth, and it's just zooming its way through the universe. There's a big civil war there. This is a pretty cool civil war scene. We can see Astro Train, Reflector. We can see Acid Storm there as well. It also copies some of the Tetrajet models that aren't Tetrajets from the original panels, if you remember from issue 1. So that's quite nice little callback there. And then there's other things going on that we need to know about. This scene, when I opened this up for the first time, I wasn't sure what was going on, and I looked at it and I thought they were building a massive Mecha Prime because the other bots look so small. But no, it's just it's all about just perception, really. They're not building a big Mecha Prime, which is a shame. I'd have loved them to have built a big Mecha Prime, Titan Prime, but they are building a Titan, and you can't see this you can see it kind of, but it's not the right color, or not the color you would expect. So here is the Ark. They're building the Ark at this point. So the orange is Iacon, the silver is the Ark. And what Prime is saying here is Prime is saying that the issue is not Cybertron. The real issue is Megatron. So this is what nobody has seemed to realize. Cybertron is doomed regardless. There is nothing we can do. What Prime must do now is save the universe from Megatron. So we see him here trying to speak to Councillor Trachion, but it's not working. He's trying to convince them that, you know, they really need to do more about Megatron. They need to deal with Megatron, because as Prime says, they have failed quite stupendously here, spectacularly failing at this point. More and more cities are burning at the hands of the Decepticons. This is my favorite panel in the whole comic. I think this looks amazing. Seekers careering out behind him, Seekers to the side, Soundwave popping up there and him blasting out an Autobot. That is just a beautiful panel there. And what's interesting here is that, you know, Prime is trying to come up with a new idea. So Prime's new plan is controlled detonations to slow down Cybertron as it careers through the universe. So Tryon asks, why in Primus are we still pouring all of these resources then into this Ark project? And we will find that out near the end. Then this is kind of a bit in the future. So this is in the past. This is kind of a little bit in the future. We cut to the Earth and we see that the Vikings are in England trying to attack Stransham Castle, and that's actually the same one they use in Man of Iron as well, so it cuts into that story there, and we can see that the Vikings are trying to take over from the Vikings. And who crash lands on Earth but Cloudbreaker and his twin? So they are on Earth trying to find other bots, but who's going to stop them? We know who's going to stop them. Punch Stealer is going to stop them. So Punch Stealer sees them land, and this is where we cut back to the past, back to Cybertron, and we can see they're still working on the Ark. And what I think is pretty cool here, and maybe this is the future, this is how we're going to call it, says Well, the era of the Titans. So they actually say the era of the Titans when talking about the Ark. So I found that very interesting, that the Ark is even now still being referred to as a Titan. So I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And we see all of the people who are going to be aboard the Ark, and we know this from the crew. Prime is talking to Magnus, and Magnus talks about why Prime wears the face cover to hide his emotions, basically, because there's a lot going on. We can see Counterpunch kind of hiding in the background here and catches Prime's eyes so Prime can go and discuss things with him. They're all preparing to go zoomy out on the Ark, and we then look here and it looks as if Punch Stealer has sold out the Autobots to Megatron. So Nemesis is being prepared as well, and this is how they learn about the Ark. So we look like, he is literally playing both sides here. He's giving all the information to the Autobots and all of the information to the Decepticons. So yeah, what a bastard. Back on Earth, the Viking hordes are still attacking the castle, but of course the bots are going to intervene, because we can now see that the cons have completely joined everybody, and we can see the Duocons with them as well. Awesome seeing the Duocons in this. Flywheels, one of my favorite bots of all time. I love this bot. Love seeing them being used in modern depictions so often now. So yeah, very happy to see him here, or Skytrack Tread, whatever you want to call him. But of course, for Wingspan, it's too late, because somebody has taken Wingspan out. I wonder who could be taking Wingspan out. Two bots then also really helping the Vikings get to where they need to be and protect their castle, so everything is good. Back on Cybertron in the past, we see that Counterpunch is now meeting up with Prime, and he is actually telling everybody, or telling Prime, that Megatron has taken the bait. So Megatron has taken the bait, and he has created the Nemesis ready to chase the Ark down. And this is where everything just comes together. So in T-10 and counting, the crew are ready in the positions. We can see them all strapped in as if they're going on a package holiday to Mallorca or something. We see some dodgy colours here. I'm not sure who this is. I am not too sure who this is from the dodgy colours, but we can see the main characters that we are all used to seeing right here. But Counterpunch is saying, wait, I don't get it. I don't like this. You want Megatron to attack the Ark. So Prime planned Megatron's attack on the Ark. After all you've done and sacrificed for the cause punch, I must ask you to undertake one further tour of deep cover on this duty. And then it cuts back to Earth in the future, and we can see the cons and the bots having a huge fight. Big explosions popping off. And then we can also see that in the past, we have liftoff, all systems green and ready to go. Then the main barrage, they're trying to clear the rocks away. We see the Decepticons board the ship and they breach everything. And then we see Prime take down the Ark by pushing the button. At least, and Prime says, at least our enemies will be taken with us. So in the future, we see the bots and the cons still fighting, and it looks like the Autobots have taken the lead thanks to Counterpunch, who looks like he's kind of rammed into Flywheels a little bit here, and he's gone down. But as the Autobots are trying to escape, what happens? Forgive me, because he blasts them out of the sky as well. and into the castle. So he's taken down the Decepticons, he's taken down the Autobots that are looking for Prime and everybody else who they think has crashed on this planet. But why? Why is he taking them down? He's taken them down because he is still undercover. Prime's final wishes before he left Cybertron were, "We must never be found. I need you, or rather your alter ego, to make sure of it. Whatever it takes, Megatron's evil can never be allowed to blight this universe again. So many of our finest warriors, why?" He would know anything less than total commitment from Megatron would sniff out the lie and sense the trap. We will be remembered. Absolutely fantastic way of looking at this. So Prime planned it all along. He took his best warriors with him in a hope to trap Megatron with him in a tomb, basically on any planet where he could, and take everybody out with him. Megatron fell for the bait, and this was the idea all along. Obviously, it didn't quite go to plan because everybody woke up. But what an interesting way to think about it, that Prime had this planned from the start to take himself and Megatron out to save the universe. So this was the final issue in Transformers 84, and would I recommend you picking it up? Hell yeah. Go pick it up. 100% I recommend you picking it up. Great stories in this comic. Absolutely awesome comic line. I've enjoyed 84. This has been such a great line of comics. Growing up, reading the Marvel comics and then reading this as a kind of supplementary piece to it so many years later, revisiting this universe and just putting the final touches to it from Simon Thurman and the team. Fantastic. Really well done. Love it. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Do you think it was a good plan from Prime? Are you buying it, or what are your thoughts? And I'll see you in my next video. Alright guys, in a bit. Peace!